Hi, it's Josh, and I have received new news on pricing in the U.S. relating to tariffs, as INEOS has just made an official announcement as an importer of automobiles from the EU. I'll read you both the op-ed from Lynn Calder, CEO of INEOS, and the further details of the press release from INEOS directly. Here's what Lynn said. Now that we're all in the new era of uncertainty, I think it's crucial to be really clear with our customers. It's costing us 25% more today to sell a Grenadier in the US than it was a few days ago. But we're a new, small, ambitious brand, and with the support of our retail network, we're committed to fighting to keep our valued customers. We are protecting them as much as we can from price increases resulting from the tariffs. So what's next? Any orders placed before April 3rd are entirely price protected. Customers will pay no more than what they signed up for. With orders placed from April 3rd onwards, we've sheltered customers from the full impact of the tariffs, but it's just impossible for us to absorb the whole 25% tariff cost. So, applicable from April 3rd, prices have increased by 5% for the Grenadier station wagon. It now starts at $78,900. With the Quartermaster pickup, we'd only recently reduced the price from $103,000 to $83,000 to counter the 25% chicken tax on imported pickups. So now, despite the tariffs, we're limiting the April 3rd price increase by 10%, with the new starting price set to be $92,900. The responsibility for this situation lies at the feet of the EU politicians who have failed to negotiate an equitable automotive trade deal with the US despite the warnings. I desperately hope that they are working around the clock to positively resolve the impasse rather than escalate it and trigger a trade war. That's the end of her statement. The press release states much of Calder's comments and furthers that the customer deliveries of the 5-seat Quartermaster double cab pickup, the largest model at INEOS lineup, begins in the US this month. The Grenadier and Quartermaster are manufactured in Hamburg, France. We all knew that. North America is the largest market for INEOS Automotive, accounting for more than 60% of the company's global sales. Never heard that before. It is represented by a rapidly growing dealer network, which is set to expand to 40 sites across the US and Canada by the end of the year. For sales information, please visit INEOSGrenadier.com, yada yada. I also noted that the press release was issued from Montvale, New Jersey, as opposed to Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm not sure if there's anything going on there yet. I'll keep posted on that. I also received an email blast this morning from INEOS suggesting that now was the time to snag a deal on an in-stock 2024 model at pre-tariff pricing. So they're making a push. So to recap, since my first video on tariffs, we now know that the Grenadier station wagon prices are impacted by 5% beginning from April 4th, and that pricing is locked on orders made before that date, meaning those of you who had 1924 editions won't be impacted by the tariffs, even though the 1924s are just beginning to arrive. The Quartermaster took a bigger hit with the new 25% tariff being stacked on top of the 25% chicken tax, meaning that there's actually a 50% tariff on Quartermasters. However, INEOS is only bumping the list pricing in the US by just 10%. If you aren't familiar with the chicken tax, I made a brief video on it and how it relates to the Quartermaster. I'll link to that above and also in the description down below. It's clear that INEOS is a victim in all of this tariff mess and that they're doing their best to swallow as much of the tariff as they can. But before you leave a comment telling me that the pricing is too high, be sure to let me know what you're planning on buying instead, and if somehow you're bypassing a tariff. Short term, you may be able to avoid it, but as long-term and even domestic vehicles will be impacted because assembling a car in the U.S. doesn't mean that all the parts were made in the U.S. So Ford, GM, and Stellantis are pausing production in anticipation of slower sales. I just recently confirmed a factory visit to Hambach for this summer, and I'm sure hoping that they don't have any more production halts, as that was a minor mess, well, probably a major mess, and we don't want another factory shutdown. Okay, that's it. Feel free to leave a comment. I'm hoping you had a plan if you've been waiting to buy a Grenadier. I know a lot of you have been patiently waiting for your 2025 orders. I'll be sure to post an update if there are any tariff or pricing news that becomes available. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.